All right, it's your boy. I'm back. I know it's probably been like a year since I've done a podcast, but what can I say, man? Life gets in the way. I finally moved, got my own spot, working on my own little podcast studio and whatnot for shits and giggles, but I'm not done with it yet. So before I start using this new software and get this live streaming act on, I decided I'd use Spreaker one more time because, well, I figured this other shit out, man, just because I had the urge to lay it down. Because I'm going to do something, we're trying to do something, I'm attempting to do the impossible, which is, I'm going to extend the olive branch tonight to my conservative friends, the Trump supporters I know. 90% of my state, my home state, are Kansas. And I'm going to try to pierce the conservative bubble. I know it's impossible, man, I know. I've been trying for years to pierce the conservative bubble. And what I believe a big part of it is the cult of personality. And a lot of folks on the right don't know what the cult of personality is. So tonight I'm going to break it down for them. I'm going to explain the difference between a religious cult and the cult of personality. Right? And I know a bunch of my partners on the left side of things know what it means. You know what I mean? They tend to be more politically savvy, and that's just the way it is. They tend to be more pro-intellectual, where conservatives nowadays are anti-intellectual. It's obvious. I don't have to get into all the details, all the science they go against, but improving science, facts, and that right there is a big part of it. Somehow, in the age of alternative facts nowadays, man, people on the right have gotten to where they confuse belief with fact. You know what I mean? They don't go hand in hand. One doesn't mean the other. They're not synonymous, right? Just because you believe something doesn't make it true, right? Just because you don't believe a fact doesn't make it untrue. A fact is always true. True all day, every day, twice on Sunday, my friends, even if you believe it or not. That's the whole deal with the fact, especially a scientific fact, because it's because of scientific observation and methods and empirical evidence. It's been proven, right? And that seems to be a big cognitive dissonance nowadays between the folks on the right, man. They think that belief equals fact, and it doesn't. In no way, shape, or form. In the dictionary, in real life, on another planet, in another dimension. They're not, you know what I mean? They're not, like I said, synonymous with each other. So I'm going to start with the cult of personality. And as I get my newer gig going, my new stuff up, my new software running, my whole new ball game going, when I get it up and running, I'm going to try to be a little bit more lighthearted, because I'm not going to lie to you. I've been quiet lately on social media because I got Trump fatigue, man. And and even though I know that's what he wants, but I'm trying to save my wad, shoot my wad come midterm elections. Because it's going to be a blue bloodbath, and I believe that. All signs indicate that. Right? But, so, all my friends on the right, like I said, I forgot, this episode is sponsored by Jack Herer. And so I'm going to explain now to my friends who don't know. There might be some friends on my left who don't know, or independent, or don't know what you are politically. And you don't understand the cult of personality and this cultish behavior that the cult of personality in Trump has really bought into and really cashed in on and exploited. This tribalism, right? That's why we're so polarized and divided. You know what I mean? That's the whole deal with democracy. When you don't disagree, you compromise, but there's no compromise nowadays. People are so tribal. Social media plays such a huge part in that. And people on the right and Trump and the right-wing media have really exploited that. Exploited the shit out of it, man. Where it's us against them. You know what I mean? Well, people don't understand, before anything, we're Americans. I don't care if you're liberal, American, libertarian, or Republican, conservative. You know, whatever kind of American you are, you're American first. You know, that's what we need to get back to. Is we're Americans first, and then we lean left, lean right, lean whatever. But it's not us versus them or us against the world, because we're all supposed to be on the same team here, folks. You know what I mean? Regardless. And see, that's a big problem about it, too. It's because one party, the Conservative Party, have thrown all their values, everything they stand for in their platform or claim to stand for since the era of Reagan, since modern conservatism, you know, since the era of Reagan, you know, that, you know, they were, well, even back to Nixon, you know, they were, which I guess Goldwater, I don't want to bore you out, but Goldwater would be a little bit more extreme conservative, but everything they've always said they stood for, fiscal conservative. Well, I just screwed that up because I'm a little lit, but being fiscally conservative, being socially conservative, being the party of family values, you know, the moral majority, the moral minority, you know, full of, you know, all that, even though people on the right don't believe it, most of the people on the left are Christian too. You know what I mean? Probably 80-90%. Probably about almost the same on the right. Probably, I don't know. I'm not going to look it up, but trust me, the overwhelming majority. But the right has got people convinced they've got the cornered the market on Jesus, even though they stand against everything Jesus and the Bible stood for. And I'm going to get into that. That's part of the cult of personality. And now, even though the majority, I would say the overwhelming majority, 95% or higher of conservatives would consider themselves Christian, right? Probably 90% of them would consider themselves evangelical Christian, right? But because of the divisiveness of Trump and his rhetoric and all the bullshit he spews and all the static and noise and outrageous behavior and statements and all the leaks from the White House, that's all this political static. You know what I mean? And that's what is fatiguing. You know, if I was going to do a podcast every time Trump said something outrageous or did something against the norms or it was totally outrageous, borderline illegal, nuts, you know what I mean, authoritarian like, I would have to do a podcast 10 times a day, man. You know what I mean? There's $1 billion media companies that can't keep up with this dude. That's how he keeps everybody's head spinning. And that's part of his little circle of chaos. You know what I mean? Some of it is self-created by Trump on purpose. You know what I mean? To cloud his bullshit. To make it harder to breathe through the static. Well, most of it is from ineptness and fucking ignorance. You know what I mean? And arrogance and stupidity by Trump. Right? And of course, you know, since he loves chaos and breeds it, of course that's what's in the White House. Because, you know, the body usually follows the head. But anyway, back to the cult of personality, man. The cult of personality, folks, is like a cult, except that the leader's political, and he's usually put forward and propped up and hyped up by a political party or a government, right? A one-state government, you know, to say he's almost godlike. You know, usually when you think of cult of personalities, you think of your evil dictators, your Hitlers, your Stalins, you know, your Mao Zedongs, you know, your Mussolini's, El Duque, your Kim's. Nowadays it means you're Kim Jong-un, right? Right? And you're Vladimir Putin. Not by title, but he's a dictator in every way, man. You know what I mean? The rigged election just proved it. Anyway, we'll get to that dude. But so, I don't want to make it political. I want to reach out and explain to folks how you can't depend on one source for your news, for your facts. You can't believe what you read. And you definitely can't listen to Trump. And I know you think Trump's your guy and he's on your side. And I'm trying to talk to you. But Trump's the most moral, wicked son of a bitch he's ever been in the White House. Hands down. You know what I mean? I don't even know who you can compare him with. He's so foul. Even back in the slave owner presidents, I don't even know who you can compare him with, right? Who's as wild as him? Maybe an uncouth. Maybe Andrew Jackson. Yeah, Andrew Jackson. That'd probably be the only one, man. You know, he was the one that was wild. You know, when he got elected, it was so wild. They all the country and local common folks went through a party at the White House and about burned it down, partied for days. You know what I mean? Just raged at the White House and turned it out. They eventually had to get the military police to arrest and throw people out of the White House that were drunk and passed out. They done all kind of damage. But that's what we can save that for another time. That's just a side note and a byproduct of ADHD. But like I'm trying to tell my right-wing compadres here, you're falling into the cult of personality because I want to read out the signs of being in a religious cult, and I'm reaching the definition, a more detailed definition than what's in Merriam-Webster's. But this is, let me see if I can find it. Man, while I'm looking, while I'm stumbling through here and looking, it's a good time to take a whiz, break bread for the head. I don't know what I do with it. I'm gonna get to it, and then I'm gonna make my case because these folks don't understand how it works. And I forgot I was going to mention it. Sidetrack, a tangent. This Mark Anthony Condit kid, right? This babyface assassin, the San Antonio bomber, the dude that allegedly, they don't know if the bomb he detonated himself killed him, or if the SWAT ops are running up shooting killed him. But this cat, once again, he's a conservative. You know what I mean? He's a young conservative. He's homeschooled, which is usually a bad sign. A severe Christian conservatism. I've not met too many kids that were homeschooled who wasn't socially inept and an outlier. You know what I mean? An outcast. And that's what, and that's exactly what all these cats have in common. All these shooters and terrorists that are coming from the conservative side. They all seem to be your lone losers, right? Your dudes that are socially inept. They don't know how to deal with people. Or they're bullied. So it's easy to get guns, you know the deal. But it just blows my mind that there's 24-year-old unemployed computer nerds running around here or, trying to pull off a Ted Kaczynski. Ted Kaczynski was a genius, He was a mathematical genius. This kid was nothing. From what we could tell, he wasn't even a college graduate or that well educated, or from what most people said, that intelligent. But somehow he put off mail bombs, sophisticated mail bombs. Where, how? I'm not going to go look on the internet, but you'd figure the FBI sit with flag folks looking for how to make bombs, right? Surely. You ain't going to wing making bombs. It ain't like this. Look, trust me, I've done IT and computer work for almost 20 years, and trust me, I ain't never tried to make a bomb, and I don't believe I could if I wanted to, other than the old school Bugs Bunny kind, where you throw a fuse in and like the old black ball kind. I might could pull one of those off. But these sophisticated bombs, the last one had a tripwire. They said it was way more sophisticated than the other ones. And, they said the way they were tracking these kids because the batteries he was using were exotic, which are odd too, because if the kid was intelligent, he would know, just like Ted Kaczynski, he would know that they were going to track every piece of debris, every blown up piece of crud that comes off one of these bombs and analyze it. That's why Ted Kaczynski always used wood and handmade everything and made everything out of wood so they couldn't track it. That's how he got away with it for years. So this kid not only didn't use common batteries that you could go buy at any store, they said he used exotic batteries. I don't know how exotic they are. They must be real exotic. Some off-brand, some cheap brand, who knows. But like I said, you got bombers running around, and these folks are still worried about the border. But we'll get back to that. I'm getting to my definition, what the cult of personality is. And here's a cult of personality arises when a country's regime, or more rarely, an individual politician. So obviously we're talking about Trump is the rarest of all of the cult of personality, an individual politician who uses the techniques of mass media, propaganda, the big lie, spectacle, the arts, patriotism, and government-organized demonstrations and rallies to create an idealized, heroic, and worshipful image of a leader. And if they don't sound like Trump to a T, when he's hitting all the notes, man. He knows the playbook. He's been using it for years. That's one thing Trump is a master of, is marketing. He knows how to read people, especially people who are unsophisticated. You know what I mean? That's what he does. He's done it his whole life. He sold poor people luxury, or poor to middle class people, even though people that really know luxury and what it takes to be sophisticated or cosmopolitan, of course, look at him like a tacky bastard, because he is. You know what I mean? All of his hotels are gilded up with gold and look like, inside of strip joints, a lot of them. You know what I mean? They're just tacky as hell. But, like I say, Trump hits, in the cult of personality, Trump hits all the notes, man. He uses mass media, propaganda, the big lie. Jesus Christ. What politician in the past 100 years, or possibly ever in the past 500 years, have used has lied like Donald Trump? You know what I mean? I'm talking about he's taking the line to a whole other level. I'm not talking about bending the truth or massaging the truth or spinning. I'm talking about just straight up lying. But the genius of it is, just like any cult leader, he sticks with the lie to the end. You know what I mean? To the end. Even when you catch him in a lie with video evidence, he won't come off the lie, man. But like I said, that's the difference between the cult of personality is more political and a cult is religious. But they're a lot alike. They're awful similar. Of course, the only difference is the religious and the government aspects of it. So my few right-wing friends, just stick with me. I'm going to get there. So you go over to and look at Rick Ross. And if you don't know who Rick Ross is, he's the end-all, be-all expert when it comes to cults in America. You know what I mean? So you go over to his little spot, the Cult Education Institute, and he's talking about what to look for, the 10 warning signs of potentially unsafe group leaders. And he's meaning this in a religious context. He's not meaning this in a political context. So that's what's crazy. But just listen. Absolute authoritarianism without meaningful accountability. That's Trump, number one right there, nails Trump. You're fired. He wants to be the boss. He demands loyalty out of everybody, even government officials he shouldn't demand, and departments he can't demand or shouldn't demand loyalty out of, but he still does. And there's no accountability. There's nobody accountable in the whole White House. Nobody's holding that dude accountable for sure. Okay, number two, no tolerance for questions or critical inquiry. Right. No tolerance for questions or critical inquiry. Right. He screams fake news at everything. Everything's fake news. Anything that's negative about Trump or don't agree with his agenda or whatever BS he's spewing, it's fake news. We all know that, right? No meaningful financial disclosure regarding budget expenses or independently audited financial statement. We don't, right there, the taxes, his tax returns. And this is what's crazy, is how this is talking about religious cults, but he somehow managed to finagle in on the financial transparency, right? There's no, it says there's no legitimate reason to leave. Former followers are always wrong in leaving, negative or even evil. And well, look, everybody just about who leaves Trump or Trump fires, what does he do? He dogs all of them out, every one of them, except for the ones who resign and scandal. But everybody else, he dogs out that he's had to fire all of them, right? Even Omarosa, his girl, that goes back to like the original, whatever that shit show was, Apprentice. I think to the very first one. I don't know, I've never really watched it. But anyway, former members often relate the same stories of abuse. You're right, when they come out of the White House, they talk the same stuff. He demands loyalty. He embarrasses them. He's wacky. He's under pressure. He's going crazy. He's incompetent. He rages. You know what I mean? He's mentally unstable. You hear the same things. He screams at folks. He verbally abuses folks. He bullies folks. The shit he's done his whole life. But see, that's what people don't understand. And that's what I'm trying to get y'all folks to understand. That how this sinks in. His cult of personality brings this cultish behavior. I'm hoping y'all can see in yourselves how even the top 10 warning signs of a potentially unsafe group/leader, he's nailing all of them, even though he's not a religious bone in that bastard's body. You know what I mean? When you talk about religiously eating fast food or banging porn stars or making them sign non-disclosure agreements, he's religious about that shit. We'll go on. There are records, number 7, there are records, books, new articles, or television programs that document the abuses of the group leader. We have that, right? You ready? Followers feel they can't never be good enough, right? And they play that victim card. That's what the right-wing media's got a bunch of conservatives doing. They always say, people on the left think they're smarter than everybody. Y'all think y'all better than everybody. We're not good enough. Because that's what I hear them screaming when they say that. They'd be convinced they're not good enough, that everybody who don't agree with them thinks they're better than them, which isn't the case. It's bullshit too, folks. You got to wake up, man. Ready? Number 9, the leader's always right. And we know that. And number 10, the leader's exclusive means of knowing truth, quote unquote, or receiving validation, or no other process of discovery is really acceptable or credible. And that is true. Donald Trump says he's the only one telling the truth. They think it's fake news, and y'all folks believe him. The people on the right believe that shit, man. And he's right, and he's all about only way you can be validated, and he gets validated is through this cult-like behavior, right? And it's become so tribal. Tribal's a primal instinct that people are ingrained with. You know what I mean? From evolution, from way back, from the caveman days. Tribal kept us alive. Being tribal is what made us huddle together and defend against other groups of people, or cavemen, quote unquote, if we just want to talk silly about it, or wild animals, right? And it's still to this day, being tribal and being part of something and being a part of something bigger and being part of a community is something everybody wants. Everybody wants to be accepted into the group, right? But also, our cult leader, cult of personality's got to have an enemy at all times, man. It's got to be us against them. It's got to be me and my people against the enemy. And of course, look at all the enemies he spawned. The FBI, right? Everybody on the left, anybody don't agree with you, any news agency that ain't Fox or coming from Russia, right? Most of our allies, he's made enemies out of. You know what I mean? Donald Trump's always looking for an enemy, always looking for a fight. And that's what you got to do to keep people divided. That's part of it, right? You got to hit them with disinformation and convince them not to go do any critical thinking for themselves or any research for themselves. And that's what he's got. That's what he's got y'all people on the right doing, man. And I know I'm only going to get 5 of y'all to listen to this shit. Now my liberal friends, especially my extremely educated liberal friends, have told me to stop wasting my time trying to extend the olive branch to you cats. Well, I'm going to try one more time, man. And that's how, and because I'm just going to make my case. So I'm just proving by all metrics and measurements of the way they judge cult of personality or a cult. Donald Trump hits all the notes, man. He's on all of them. You know what I mean? He hits all of them at the cult, Rick Ross, and the Cult Education Institute website. And he hits all of them when you look at the definition of the cult of personality. So it's cultish behavior, and that's why I always say cultish behavior when I'm on Facebook or Twitter or anything else. But like I said, and I know all my liberal friends are turning this shit off because they expect me to be funny and make jokes. And don't worry, I'm trying to get there. I'm trying to bend my skull back. But man, the cognitive dissonance, the disconnection between reality and most conservatives, it just blows my mind, man. And I'll tell you why I've been fascinated with it. And I'll get off on a tangent here. I've been fascinated with the cult of personality and cults and cult-like folks since I was a little kid. And it stems from when I was like 5 years old. Jim Jones and all those folks killed themselves in Guyana. And it was big news. And I remember when it was 5, it was huge news. People wouldn't stop talking about it. It was on the news every night. It was huge, right? And I thought that was strange. All these folks followed this dude down and killed themselves. That's wild. How do you get 900 people to do that, right? Or millions to go and you can look at Hirohito or Hitler or any of these other dudes, Stalin, folks that willingly will die, kill themselves for these cats. Or millions will, throw themselves in a war that they know they're going, or a battle they know they're going to lose for these cats that are willing to die for a dude and his ideas, especially cats that are evil, man, and corrupted, morally bankrupt, just corrupted. And Donald, at least Hitler and Stalin and all those they actually had a political ideology. You know what I mean? Even though they were all fucking nuts and all power-tripping, megalomaniacal narcissists like Donald Trump. You know, but at least they were qualified to be dictators. That's what I'm saying. They had the experience. They went through the motions for 20 years to get there. You know what I mean? They didn't dupe a bunch of folks that put them in. They wrangled it. Which to a point, Donald Trump wrangled it with Cambridge Analytica and Russia helping him. And that's where I'm supposed to make my case. Because when I try to explain to these folks, I don't understand how they don't see that Donald Trump's already broken the law. It's obvious. He's committed obstruction of justice, I think more than once, but once that definitely can be proven, right? And I'm going to break it down. Like I said, I'm going to break it down in this segment and explain how the case against Trump is already strong, even in the public domain. So all you folks who are living in this line of land and don't think that Trump has broken the law or he's colluded, and he's done both of those things with the enemy. You know, that's what blows my mind. Is folks are so bound and determined to fucking put their flag in the ground and stand their ground that they're willing to overlook. And I ain't even talking about the moral shit, the Stormy Daniels and all the other chicks he banged, or the chicks he assaulted, allegedly. Sexually assaulted, right? Some of them raped, sexually harassed. Well, there's 16, 19 of those women, right? And there's plenty of evidence, you know, his big buddy was Jeffrey Epstein, a billionaire, convicted child molester, sex trafficker now. Trump was at all his little young chick parties. That's what that one 13-year-old model said back then, accused Trump of rape. She's been the same girl, been accusing him of rape for now 15, 20 years, it seems like. But people overlook all that. So just put that to the side. But the fact y'all overlook that he's in cahoots with Russia, our enemy. And you just want to, y'all just, you know, even if you dismiss all the hoeing, blowing and going, you know what I mean? And the greedy, cheating, lying, stealing, and the RICO, money laundering, shitty, all that other crooked shit he does, sleazeball shit he does. All the moral and financial crimes, right? Put them to the side. Just on the political level, the fact that he was not put there, I'm pretty sure it's not technically all the way legit, because it's not. I'm sorry. His presidency is not legitimate. It's not. We know for a fact that Russia used all their might and was successful at swaying minds and getting votes. Because at the end of the day, folks, Donald Trump only won by like 74 or 77,000 votes in total in 3 states, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. And that's what Cambridge Analytica did. That's how they're involved now. That's why I've been saying since last year that their name's coming and Felix Sater's name's coming, and here comes Cambridge Analytica, and they're fucking up Facebook with them. But that's because Facebook give them all of our information. They were supposed to delete it, and they didn't. And then they sold it or let go public all this information, and I'm sure the Russians got it. And then the past week, CEO of the company bragged about in former elections bribing, blackmailing politicians, with Russian hookers. That he's, you know what I mean? He's in cahoots with the Russians. They've been in cahoots with the Russians since 2014. They're owned by the billionaire family, the Mercers, who are the only billionaires who backed Donald Trump, who are the billionaires that's backed him from the beginning, who put Kellyanne Conway in there, who put Bannon in there. You know what I mean? They own Breitbart. They're the ones who own Breitbart. So before my friends on the right say, you know, that shit don't mean nothing to me. I know all y'all read Breitbart and believe it. Well, the Mercers are the ones who bankroll that. They're the ones who paid for all of it. They also own Cambridge Analytica. You see how it is? You see these billionaires, one billionaire family, tried and succeeded along with a foreign hostile government, Russia, to put their boy in office. And instead of wondering, hey, something's rotten in Denmark, you know what I mean? Because I'm sorry, there's so much overwhelming evidence, but y'all are steady talking about Pizzagate and some dumb shit. Because y'all listen to cats like Alex Jones and Fox News But y'all don't listen to the news part of Fox News. The real newsmen, the real journalists, Shepard Smith and a couple of other cats. Y'all only believe the bullshitters, the opinion artists, who ain't even got a college diploma. Your Sean Hannity's, who ain't even got a college diploma. What the hell does that do? No, nothing. He's Trump's biggest apologist, knob slobber, polisher, ass kisser, brown noser, whatever you want to call him, right? Hype man. He's the flavor. He's Donald Trump's Flavor Flav, if you will. To my hip hop heads out there. Anyway, let me just swig him a little cotton mouth. I'm gonna get back to it. So here's where it all goes down, and I'm gonna give you legit facts. You can look these up for yourselves. Like I said, we'll all start. And here's the case gets started. We'll all start with the obstruction of justice, right? We'll start there. When you fire the guy who's investigating you, right? He's investigating you, and you fire him, and you have the power to fire him. There can't be no more obstruction of justice than that. When you fucking 86 the investigator, when you shut it down, that's about as big as obstruction as it gets. I've got an obstruction of justice ticket for just talking back to a cop before, or whatever, obstructing government operations just for talking back, man. And this dude fired the investigator, and wants to fire the new investigator for firing the old investigator, which is nuts, right? But then we know that happened. He done national TV. But I'm going to go all the way back to at the beginning of, what was it? I don't know, July. We're going to go back to June. May, June of 2016. Right? May, June of 2016. I thought it was wild when Trump come out and asked the Russians to hack Hillary. I was like, I cannot believe that he done that shit, man. That's asking a foreign government to commit espionage against our country. And everybody blows it off because they can't focus on one thing because Trump does something so wild every. You know what I mean? He's so unstable that you can't focus on one thing and look at it hard or take a deep dive in it because he's on to the next scandal or outrageous statement or a foolish policy move, right? It's the chaos of Trump. It's the static. It's the white noise. And he's big at that. He likes that. You know what I mean? Keep everybody's head spinning. And you get fatigued. And I am fatigued, like I said. But get back to it. So we'll go back in. So he asked a foreign government to hack our country or one of our Democratic Party servers or bank of servers, the whole Democratic Party or whole political party's servers and emails. It gets the lead candidate's emails and everybody connected to her, campaign manager, Podesta, and all those, right? He asked them to do it. 3 days later, they did it. They released the emails. So it's like he asked and they did it. So that's collusion right there. But that's kind of iffy. I know. I can prove more collusion 2 or 3 more times, but I'm going to go into it. So right there, he asked a foreign government to hack his political opponent in an American in our country, which is asking another country. That's an act of war. That's espionage, man. It's a cyber attack. And somehow he got away with that, and I thought it was outrageous at the time. I remember flipping out on. And nobody else seemed to be as bothered about it as I was. It seemed like with social media, but I was tripping on that shit. That's wild. You don't see presidential candidates doing that shit, man. So we get back to it. He asked them to hack Hillary 3 days later, right? They released emails. They hacked and released these emails. First sign of collusion. Then Don Jr., June 3rd. And I got the chronological order of all these emails. When Don Jr. on June 3rd gets this email from his Russian, this dude in London that Goldstone or whatever, that little music manager dude, that he's got Russian friends, this Russian lawyer, he's over here for the Magnitsky, trying to argue against the Magnitsky Act and all this other shit, and want to meet because they have dirt on Hillary Clinton. He, of course, emails back, if y'all got it, I love it. I'd love to meet, right? Which is crazy as shit. Nobody in their right mind who had any political sophistication or experience at all would have ever took that meeting. You know what I'm saying? But, so we go to it. The same day, his father, before I go forward, remember, he claims his dad didn't know nothing about the meeting until later, right? He didn't know before about it, nothing about it, till way later, after they made up that bullshit story on Air Force One about adoption. Well, we'll get back to it. So the same day, coincidentally, that he gets these emails and he's like, I love it. He starts trying to set up these meetings. Donald Trump gets on national TV and says he's got some damaging information on Hillary Clinton and he's going to have a press conference next week and he's going to let this shit out and people are going to be interested and it could end her career, it could ruin her. I'm talking about it's going to cut her legs out from under her, right? Okay. He never had that press conference because when they went and had the meeting with the Russian spy, with the Russian government-connected lawyer, and the other cat, it was Manafort, it was Kushner, it was Don Jr. Remember, they went and had it, and they were all wanting to talk about the Magnitsky Act and rolling back and sanctions against Russia and all this other bullshit. They didn't really have no dirt on Hillary, right? So there was no dirt for Donald Trump to have a press conference on next week and drop the hammer on. So what happened, of course, is Don went and told his daddy, hey, these Russians, which I'm sure they were already in contact with the Russians, with the past history, known history of Trump, the Trump family, and the Trump financial resources have all come from Russia since the 90s. They've openly said that. Well, we'll go back to it. So Don called his dad. Hey, Dad, Russians, they got dirt on Hillary. He's like, love it, big league. Shit's going to go down big league. You know what I mean? I'm going to bust that bitch, whatever he says. Eats a Big Mac, drinks a Diet Coke, rolls out, tells him he's going to have a press conference next week. He's got this dirt. Well, his boy oversold it. You know what I mean? They counted their chickens before they hatched. The meeting turned out to be fruitless. You know what I mean? The dirt didn't exist. So Donald Trump never had that press conference. So that meant Donald Trump knew about this shit from Jump Street, man. He knew about it moments after Don Jr. knew about it. So right there's collusion. That's attempted collusion or collusion. You know what I mean? They were willing. The only thing that stopped them from colluding right then, and we don't know they didn't during that meeting, but the only thing that we know for a fact stopped them was the intel wasn't no good. If the intel was good, they would have definitely colluded with Russia right then. After Donald Trump's already told them to hack Hillary, and they did that too. Just months ahead, before that, a month before that, or some shit. Anyway, so there's two examples of collusion, right? I'll just give you. Here's the second example of obstruction of justice. When Donald Trump made Don Jr. go and tell the lie about the meeting being about Russian adoption, when it's not about Russian adoption. Whenever you lie to evade prosecution or indictment or arrest, that's obstruction of justice. So there's your second, and this is just what we know in the. That's what I'm trying to tell my conservative locals here, people that live in this backwards ass state we all live in. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. There's two examples we know about in public domain that are textbook cases for collusion, for obstruction of justice right there. So what do you think Mueller knows? He knows all kinds of shit, man. He's done got his tax returns. He's done got everything on Trump. He knows it all. He knows everybody that signed disclosure agreements. He knows it all. That's what I'm saying. So to be so delusional and think there's no way, you keep believing in Trump, there's no way they got dirt on your boy Trump. You're delusional. It's right there in front of your face, man. I just give you two examples that are legal, that will hold up to any legal definition of collusion and obstruction. Right there, two examples, right? Okay. Then we know Cambridge Analytica is also owned by the Mercer family, the billionaire family, who owns Breitbart, who backed Trump, the early backers of Trump. I think her name's Elizabeth Mercer, and I forget maybe her husband's Robert Mercer. Anyway, the Mercers, the originators, the OGs of Breitbart. They started and founded Breitbart. They bankrolled Andrew Breitbart's website. And I know you Trump lovers love some Breitbart. And they're the ones who put Kellyanne Conway banning all these cats into Trump's sphere of influence, or into Trump's administration and campaign, into his campaign. So that's how powerful the Mercers are, right? Rebecca Mercer, maybe it's Rebecca Mercer. Anyway, I don't know. You can look it up, the Mercer family. The kooky religious kooks. Anyway, so there you go. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. Open up your eyes, folks. It's obvious. It's open. But I don't even care, even though I do, because I expect more of my president than to bang porn stars and playmates or whatever, and then pay them off and then body shame them and and then bully and all that shit he does, and then grab them by the pussy, kiss them against their will. He said that on video. He's got 16 and 19 women he said he's been sexually harassed, or been groped by him, been improperly touched, fondled. A couple said they've been raped by him, right? There's a lot of smoke, but I don't even care. We'll just take the immoral and we'll take away the Felix Sater and the two brothers in Azerbaijan, the two gangster-ass brothers of the Interior Transportation Minister and his brother, who are down with the Revolutionary Guard that were Donald Trump's partners in the Trump Tower of Baku, Azerbaijan, the capital city Baku, that's never been opened. There ain't been up but a month. And you go, this shit's, anybody can read it. This ain't some conspiracy theory I'm making up. This is known evidence. That's why I never thought Donald Trump would get elected, because there were so many skeletons. He's got so much dirt, not even with the women, but just the financial misdealings, that I thought he'd never get arrested. But that's the chaos of Trump. He kicks out so much static and bullshit constantly that they can't weed through all of it. And now they're playing, the media's got to play catch up. Well, now everybody's starting to catch up to the non-disclosure agreements, the sexual assault victims, all these chicks he's been banging on the side, even though he's supposed to be got his shit together according to all these evangelical leaders before he ran for president, even though we know Stormy Daniels and them was happening in 2015, 2016, right before the election, right? And they say and we know that he tried to get Stormy, who just passed the polygraph, to call another porn star to have a three-way. There's another one, porn star Jessica Drake, that says he tried to get her to have a three-way and harassed her. So he's got plenty. He's a sexual deviant. I give him that. Look at him. Of course he's got to pay for it. Look at that dude. Why wouldn't he have to pay for it? Jesus Christ, what hot chick would bang that dude, right? Damn, come on now. Anyway, back to it. So you take that away, take Felix Sater and the hundreds of Russian mobsters who have bought Donald Trump property and overpaid for it to launder their money. They're ill-gotten gains. By taking what they do is they'll buy Donald Trump condos, apartments, properties, and then they'll borrow money against it from banks. The money's clean they borrow against it. The money they used to buy is dirty. So they've washed their money by taking out a loan against it. They take that clean loan money and they just hit the road, Jack, because they just washed their money. And it's a laundering, and the Russian mob are famous for laundering money that way. That's what they do. They buy property and take loans out and wash the money through loans, then abandon the properties or let the notes go under. Felix Sater, convicted Russian mobster, down with the biggest Russian mob there is, right? This dude had an office on the same floor as Trump, worked for Trump, had business cards. And I forgot I got to do 45-minute segments, and I'm at minute 43:20. I might do another little bit of a segment because I want to explain and make the case for this evidence and everything I'm saying. You can look up. I can give you sources if you want. I got all my sources right here. So if you don't believe me, just message me, ask me on Facebook, Twitter. You know what I mean? Message me on Spreaker. Let me know. I can show you, I can lay out all the evidence. This is known, documented, factual things that have happened. This ain't some Alex Jones conspiracy hyped up, you know what I mean? Hannity bullshit conspiracy theory. It's not. But I'll come right back and finish this up and finish my case up against Trump just to show you how strong a case Mueller's got to have at this point. Anyway, this your boy, Ronnie Roan on the microphone. I'm Audi 5000G.